Welcome to Becoming After 7 p.m. I'm your host, Stella O, and this series is called Heartbreak. Now, if you missed the last episode, I talked about my first heartbreak. Now, go ahead and hit the bell and the subscription button. I'm on YouTube podcasts as well as all the major podcasts. Now, let's get into it. I was going to be running away from this title. I'm being honest. This topic was not even going to come out because it seems like I am getting deeper and deeper. But you know what? This is all about us having a conversation, right? Now, parts of heartbreak and your first heartbreak, sadness and grief. Yeah. Now, the first thing that pops up to me in sadness and grief is like this dark cloud. Everything is negative. You're boo-hooing. I don't know. Like, that's just what pops out to me as a woman. Like, I'm not going to say it out loud in public, but I will say it in private. It's like, ugh. And you know, ladies, when you're going through that sadness and grief, why? I'm going to explain it to you in my own words. So, you know, as a woman's first heartbreak, it's tough. It's hard. It's not only about losing someone that you loved. And I'm not talking about as in the physical, like a loss of someone has passed away. Just that person no longer being in your life. And it's about losing a version of yourself. Yeah. Now I know there's some women there like, oh no, I am not losing anything of myself. But if you have truly loved this person, let's be real. Let's be real with each other. You are losing a part of you because you shared moments with this person that was important. Why would you share your life with someone if they weren't that important? Really? Do you really think that you will be the original you without them? You'll be a different person. And that's why I feel like you're going through that grief. I've lost a friendship with friends who I've known them from over a decade, 2 decades. It's a shift. And at times, that deep connection that we have with them, that we've built, it's not something that you just build overnight and then when you're done, that it's just gonna be suddenly gone. It's a process. So the sadness also comes, I feel like it's very overwhelming. It's consuming at times and unbearable. It mirrors the process of a significant loss, like you're going through like a funeral. Now, the overwhelming emotions, I feel like the emotions come in as waves for myself. I can say that because I have experienced this. When the heartbreak sets in and you're like, okay, the waves start coming. Sometimes it comes slow and steady, and then at times it just hits you. Have you ever wondered why somebody just suddenly they're fine and then they just start crying? They just suddenly start crying. Just tears start flowing. It has happened to me. I thought that I was like, girl, please, no. It has happened to me. And it's sometimes crushing. And it's about you missing that person. That's really what it is. But it's not only just missing the person. What does that mean? The loss of the routine you had with them. It could be waking up in the morning by them, making breakfast. You had a routine, phone calls, conversation. When something pivotal in your life happened, you call this person. Like for me, my mother. I always would talk to her or something will come up. I will call her or she will call me and say, hey, this is what's going on the news. I had a routine. She had a routine with me. I had a routine with her that was just very platonic. And then the loss of emotional security. That feeling that, you know, that person is not a priority all of a sudden. See, when you love someone, you love them with ease. You don't think about it. You don't think about, I have to do, when I wake up in the morning, I have to do 1, 2, 3. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. No, you just do it with ease. So now that security has gone. And then the fear of uncertainty. The uncertainty of the future. Like for my mom, I only have one mother. That is gone. So it is a shock. And you're like, Stella's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't even know how my future is going to look like, feel like. I have no idea. But, and that's the thing that I had to, it hit me suddenly. I had to really think about it really hard. Like, will I ever have another mother? I can't. I only have one mother. You can't replace someone. I don't care what nobody says. We are made uniquely. There's only one of you. And the person that you love, a friend, a sister, a brother, an aunt, a husband, an uncle, all those people that you love, they were part of your future, your everyday, your routine. You lose that, it shifts you. It changes you. They were a part of your life that was a piece. It's like a puzzle, and then now that piece is missing in your life. That doesn't mean that you can't move on, I feel like. But it is tough. It is definitely tough, especially when it's your first heartbreak. You don't have like an exercise, or you've been through it, or boot camp, heartbreak boot camp, and you know what to do. You have no idea, so you're really going through it. Now for me, I have a personal experience in this area. You know, when you're going through sadness and grief, it also affects you physically. And what do I mean by that? You could have sleepless nights and emotional exhaustion. For me, for over a year, I could not sleep. I would actually sleep because of exhaustion. I did. I would actually, and didn't even realize that I just couldn't sleep. I was a mess. I would be up. I would have the TV on, the news on. I just couldn't sleep. On an average, for over a year, I was getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep. Why? Because I'm exhausted. I'm a human being. I'm not a machine. And with that, it comes like you just overthinking about everything. I was overthinking about everything. Reliving the end of it, end of the relationship, analyzing conversations, wondering like what happened, like what went wrong. And then you know how you hear that the mind's playing tricks on me. In the night, the memories just come sharper, and they just come harder. And even I feel like at night the pain is worse. And then I became exhausted. The lack of sleep, the stress, the physical fatigue. I was irritated easily, and then just difficulty just focusing during the day. If you can't sleep properly at night, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to look tired. And I started gaining weight. I started getting a lot of weight because I was supposed to be having adequate sleep, but I wasn't. So now, I used to also look at old text messages as well of my mother's. And there was this voice message that she left. She would always leave voice messages. I never listened to voice messages. But for some reason, I would always listen to hers. And she would always complain, "Why is your mailbox full? I have to wait." And I would listen to her voice message. And just hearing certain songs or shows or certain smelling certain scents, familiar places. There are things that will remind you of that person. Maybe it was a street or an area that you were at. You used to share with this person. It reminds you that that person is not there anymore in your life. That loneliness hits. It really does. It hits you hard because now the memories become even louder. And it reminds you that that relationship is no longer existing. That's some deep grief and deep sadness, I feel. Because you compare the happiness that you have with this person in the moments, and then you don't have those moments anymore. Now, sometimes it also manifests into you eating a whole lot, right? Emotional eating. I've done it. Or the loss of appetite. I've actually had both. In the past, I used to, I wouldn't say, would I stress eat? I wouldn't even stress eat. I would actually have a lack of appetite. And when I was stressed, I would lose significant of weight. But then now lately in my 30s, I would have emotional eating, which is completely the opposite. I don't even know how that happened. So when I'm going through emotional roller coaster, I'm gaining weight, I'm eating ice cream, everything else. And then I just find difficulty just finding joy in just the little things that maybe I used to like anymore. It's crazy how love on heartbreak can really affect your daily routine, right? And then you have the social withdrawal. Oh, that hit me hard. I was just disconnected. I'm already an introvert. For you all, I don't know, maybe social disconnection could be one thing from family or friends. Maybe you're very social, going to parties. And for me, I'm not a social person. So I shut out the whole world. And just feeling empty as well. The person that's missing, there's something that's missing in your life. And it's even significant when you're surrounded by people that you have something that's missing. If you're coupled up with someone or you're married, and then when you go to a party or it's a holiday party or you're two peas in a pot, now you don't have your other half. It becomes awkward. The turning point is when you decide to heal. You can't be stuck in this area for too long because it's depression. I've went through the sleepless nights. It is no joke. Emotional exhaustion. Looking at pictures and listening to the voice messages and just the grief, appetite physically. You're just going down and down and down. And I had to make a choice to heal. And you have to make a choice to heal whenever you're in that place. So at first it feels like the pain will never go away. It really does. It feels like I will never get out of this. This is going to last forever. Like there's no medicine to it. But it comes with you making a decision to heal. And the tears become less. And also the laughter is also, it comes back again. And then you also have the urge to maybe not even check the messages anymore. It just goes away. The things that brings you grief and pain and sadness and makes you wallow and makes you feel like you're lonely. And then you start just focusing on yourself instead of what you have lost. See, for me, I started focusing on Stella. I did. Stella was gone for a little bit, but I started focusing on me. I was like, you know what? I matter. And that person brought me joy. That person brought me laughter. That person gave me very great advice. But that person is no longer. It was a season in my life, and I have to move to my current season, which is me. And I had to pick me. See, sadness is necessary. It's a necessary part of healing. And this is why I didn't want to talk about it. But it's a necessary part of healing. And it just proves that how deeply you loved that person. That's all. It's not a bad thing. That dark cloud doesn't mean that you're weak. Those tears doesn't mean that you are broken. Though those sleepless nights doesn't mean that you're not worth it. It just means that that person meant that much in your life and how much you just felt for that person. But with time, the grief turns into growth, and the pain, it transforms into wisdom. Now, for me, what does your heartbreak look like when you have sadness and grief? Is it still going through the process? Are you going through the process, or have you decided to pick you and heal? Heartbreak is a roller coaster. Up, down, and it's okay. Because those waves start to settle. They don't stay there forever. They really don't. And that's why for me, I like to always have a conversation and just be real and raw. Because I'm the study, I guess. It's just the actual study. I'm using myself because I've actually gone through this in different ways. I talked about it with going through it with my mother. I remember actually she had passed on out. It was months, and I had a routine when I went to the store. I used to just do things out of routine. And for hours I was in the store. I was just doing my normal routine I think I was off that day. And I drove to her home. And I sat in the car trying to understand, why am I here? And it hit me that I was at the store. I did all this shopping with her in mind. Why? Because it was just a routine that I had. She meant a lot to me. She was part of me. I was part of her. But it was a grief that I had to go through. It was a heartbreak that a lot of us will go through. Now, I know you're probably wondering, like, okay, Stella, yeah, we'll get into the romantic heartbreak later on, but I like to just let it flow and whatever comes to my mind. My mom is not here anymore, but has that broken me as a person? At a point it did. But at a point I had to make a decision to pick Stella and get up and not wallow, and get up and shake it off, and get up and say, I matter also. And I have to live this life without her, and it's okay. So I am a host, Stella O, and this is the series Heartbreak.